I would like to thank you for coming to Cuadros' Corner. Tania Viveros, thank you for being here.
It's my honor to be here. And as I mentioned to you before, the podcast started, I mean, it's just a blessing to see somebody reach out to local artists and connect with us because we have a whole world that people enjoy, coming into. But when it's highlighted, that's when it gets even better.
And exactly what you mentioned, I'm trying to highlight artists and people from the Valley. That's kind of like brings me to my first question. Can you tell me a little bit about your background? Where did you grow up? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, of course. I always enjoy letting people know where I come from. I was born in Reynosa Tamaulipas, but I was brought here at the age of 3 on a taxi by my grandmother, right? Classic, very, illegal situation.
Oh, wow.
And I was raised here. From there on, I've been here for, 31 years. I grew up specifically in Edinburg.
Oh, wow.
I am an Edinburg girl. I've been there. I was raised in Government Project Area 107.
Mm-hmm.
All that area, that was my upbringing. So Edinburg ISD, Vera's Meat Market, all Edinburg 100%. And from there on, I started to venture out in a lot of creativity as I got older.
And exactly when you get older, like around what age did you start like experimenting with art, or how did you know that it was like a passion of yours?
I never really thought of art being my passion because when you grow up in poverty, you never think of art. You always think of what we're going to eat or what we need to do to survive that day.
Yeah.
So I always tell my daughter, I didn't have the luxury of paint or canvases or any of that.
Yeah.
First of all, I never actually created anything when I was growing up. All I did was help my grandma with her garden. That's all I did. Or clean.
Nice.
Or cook. Just regular, housekeeping.
Yeah. And do you give your kids now? How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids. And with that said, they're constantly making. And that is one of the things that I love, that with this upbringing of mine, like I tell them, I was raised in this format where you don't sit, you're working. You're sitting, you're wasting time. You're always making something. Creativity gets you out of trouble. That's something that my grandma always, drilled on me. It's like, why are you sitting? There's a lot of things to be done. So as I was growing up, creativity really helped me. And as I continued my education, which I love. I started, and I mentioned to you previous days that I enrolled at STC with the courses of business. Found out that, that's not my world. The first semester, I was, barely, hanging in there. Like I tell my students, like a fat rat on a string. I could not hold on. It was in my world. It didn't feel real. So then I transitioned to graphic design. The same thing. It's like, okay, I love design. I love stuff like this, but it still doesn't feel me until I discovered the studio at what is now, UTRGV, the Fine Arts Department, Visual Arts. That's where I said, this is a world that I will never escape from. It's like my avatar, right? That's who I am. And not only did that world, really embed in my skin, but I brought that world wherever I go. So it's something that I always highlight to young people, that it is not a world that you go into. It's a world that you bring to the table everywhere you go. So it's something that I love and I advocate for, but I can see it. So as today, I was creating pieces for what we have very, very soon, our art show, fashion show, May 6th here in the Phoenix Gallery. I was working on pieces, touching up on things. My daughter's always making art. Nice. So as she sees me creating, she's creating.
Yeah.
And my little boy is creating his own world with his own imagination. So our house is always filled with creativity.
So going back to what you mentioned, that you did not have time for creativity when you were growing up, what is a benefit of being creative, especially when you're growing up? What does that do for the mind versus maybe not being able to to do that?
Yeah, that's when you are highlighting and basically working the muscle of art, you're really working problem solving. And that's something that I stand for, a firm believer. I am not only an artist for the Rio Grande Valley, I am also an educator for the Rio Grande Valley. I am a high school educator for PSJ North High School and for South Texas College, and I am excessively proud of my RGV. Forever will I be. And one of the things that I tell my students is, yes, it is an art studio, because it is a studio. If you ever seen that studio, it is a studio. I highlight on the fact that if you're constantly working on in the creative realm, you're working that muscle, the problem solving, and it starts getting better and better and better. So when you're out there in your career, whether it is visual arts, whether it's graphic design, the medical field, that muscle's already strong.
Yeah.
So you going out there and collaborating with labs, right, in the medical field, it's not going to feel rusty for you.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to go in there in your philosophy class, in your, biology class, and you have to be creating all these things because the world's about creativity.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what platform you're in. We are the core of the universe. Art is the core of the universe. I always say that, as biased as that is, because everything is around us. So when they're constantly advocating for that muscle and strengthening the muscle, their career is polished.
Nice.
So I say that all the time.
Nice. So did your family, like you mentioned, they didn't really have time to be creative. You had to look for your next meal. You're from a low income family. Did they ever tell you don't pursue something creative, or were they like the typical family that was like, you got to be a doctor, you got to be a lawyer, or what was that like?
That was classic, poverty mentality. There is no money in art. There is no money in that, right? It was more of a figure it out. Well, then if you're going to be in the art world, well, you'll be with us. Continue to be poor. You're going to continue. It's like, you're not going to escape poverty. Okay. So just letting you know, you're going to come back and you're going to have your little mobile home next to us, and we'll have carnes asadas together and while you're painting.
Nice.
So I said, you know what, if that's the world, then I'm okay. Why? Because I cannot, and I say that, I repeatedly tell that to my kids, I cannot fake something that I don't like. I mean, I'm not rude about it, but pretending to do something that you don't love, it's like, oh, no, I can't.
Yeah.
So me pretending that I was, like I said, I enrolled at STC thinking I'm going to be the best, business student. Don't get me wrong. As an artist, I'm working backwards, because now I'm meeting people like you, like NHPO that we have here in the Rio Grande Valley, the Guild, IMAS, all these people that we connect, that we do networking with. And it is business, it is marketing.
Yeah.
But again, I did not come from that realm, so it wasn't, it was too much for me. It was like, no, that's too many numbers. Now I'm able to, understand marketing is important. Without marketing, an artist can't expand their wings.
Right. And I've seen you be very active in the community, like at NHPO. I've seen you at, I went to the September 15 Phoenix Gallery event, and there was some art pieces of yours there. Is there something particular about the RGV that basically inspires you? Is there something special about this area in particular? Because I often tell people that it doesn't feel like the United States, but it doesn't feel like Mexico. It feels like a bubble in a way. Do you feel the same way, or what's your experience?
My point of view on that question is, this is my home. I will never be accepted, right? And I say that, in my community, when you were born in Mexico and you were raised in the Valley, you're not Mexican. You're not, right? If I go to Mexico or I visit Mexico, soy mexicana, raíces mexicanas, but it's still not home to me. I'm a stranger. Then again, in the United States, you're Latina. You're not USA, right?
Yeah.
So we have those, those disconnections. So because of that, the Valley is my home. Like there is no US, there is no Mexico, there is my RGV.
Yeah.
That's it. And because of that, I give back to the community. And that's one of the things that I'm passing on to my kids. Now my kids are wanting to get involved with National Honor Society because it's advocating community. That's one of the things that my little girl has joined. And I'm very proud. Why? Because I'm showing that example that, hey, I grew up in poverty. I remember when they used to knock at my door and the food bank come in and give back with boxes of whatever it was. And my mom would tell us, you guys better like that because if you don't get your education, you're going to the army. And if you don't like that food, then that's what you're going to be eating.
Oh, wow.
So my brothers would say, I'm okay. I'll be ready for the army. Like, because it was not high quality food at that time.
Of course.
So we ate whatever was there.
Yeah.
I also remember being sponsored by organizations that would drop off school supplies, clothing, boxes of clothing. That was amazing. That was our Christmas. That was just like, everybody move. We got this, right?
Yeah.
Boxes. And that was a blessing. So why not give back?
Yeah.
We can't get an education, get the titles and recognition and not be there for the people that actually help us, go through those, difficult times or just growing up. Because I didn't think of it as a difficult time. I thought it was just everybody's just as broke as we are.
Yeah.
Yay, right? Throwing ourselves in mud puddles, playing football in the streets. Not everybody did that. No. Knowing that, you were driving a car, hoping that the light did not turn red because your car was not going to continue going.
Yeah.
I thought that was everybody's issue.
No.
I was like, it's okay to push the car. No big deal. But reality hit and it was like, oh no. Once you got into high school, it's like, wait. What do you mean you don't go through this, right? So because of those experiences, it is an honor for me to go to my Edinburg Cultural Arts Center and give back in these projects that the city of Edinburg is, highlighting. Going back to NHPO, giving to the community, to the IMAS, going to that organization and giving back. We have a style show coming up. We have a fashion show coming up. We have so many things. And to me, this is home. When you go to your house, you want your house to be at its best.
Right.
You want to give it its best. Let's hope, right?
Yeah.
Because it's your home. You don't want to hold back.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the classic individual that didn't give to her community, but gives to San Antonio, gives to Corpus, gives to Austin, gives to New York. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, we all want to cross checkpoint and grow and go for it. And yes, we have to. But don't try to be and give when the people that gave you are here. Give to them.
Yeah.
Because guess who's watching you? My students and my kids might not listen to what I say, but they listen to what I do.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, that's what they actually mimic.
Yeah, they're watching you.
Yeah. I'm like, they're the best judges. They're like constantly, looking at you.
Yeah.
And now I have students that at a young age are beginning to sell artwork.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, that is amazing. They're beginning to use the skills that I provided in the classroom to make jewelry, metalsmithing.
Wow.
To be engraving. They're painting in oil on canvas, something that what did I know about oil? Only oil was the one leaking from my car. That's it. There's no oil in anything in my life, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it was one of these things that I am seeing the aftermath.
Yeah.
Not only from me, there's so many great art teachers in the Valley, and I see it, but we're building this massive, very creative community in the Valley, and people like you, people like Josh Moroles, people like so many people that are doing podcasts, photographers. My gosh, you guys are amazing. Our models in the Valley, we're different, right?
Yeah.
Artists in the Valley, like I don't think anybody can party as good as artists, right? If you don't believe me, go to the show on May 6th. Like that's it.
It's gonna be fun.
It is very exciting.
So speaking of teachers, what does your family say now that you've become successful in your field? You're a MFA, PhD, right?
Yes, that is correct. MFA, PhD artist. And you're a teacher at Raiders and SDC. That is correct. So I'm a everything within the same line of art, but right, high school educator, South Texas College educator, MFA graduate, which is a lot.
Congrats.
A lot, thank you. But they don't say, they congratulate me as in, échale ganas, But when it comes to
The classic échale
yeah,
ganas.
yeah, échale ganas, you know, keep it up.
Like you do something, you're like, look what I did.
Yeah,
Qué
yeah.
bueno, échale más ganas.
Échale ganas. Whenever you fall, just let us know. We'll pick you up, but échale ganas. So yeah, no, they are happy, they're proud, but they're not gonna be throwing me a parade. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's our Hispanic community. If they're gonna celebrate your success, it's gonna be with a carne asada. What else are they gonna do? They're like, okay, we're gonna get out the barbecue pit and let's celebrate.
Yeah, that's cool. So when it comes to your children, are you really putting art as a big part of their education? Is it something that they like? Are they interested in it because they watch you do it? Or is it, what is that like?
You know, when it comes to the creative space at home, it is a creative space. To me, it's like, do whatever it is in you. If at the end of the day, 18 years of age, arrives to you, your expiration time, and art is something that you don't want to continue pursuing, that's great.
Yeah.
It's whatever God put in your heart, and you as your creator, as him being your creator and designing you. He is your designer. He's the one that's going to tell you what you're actually going to be good at. Mm-hmm. I am not the classic, or not the classic, but I'm not the individual that will tell my kids, no, you have to be a doctor. But no, I'm not the one. I'm not going to be there taking every exam for you, consulting all these patients, or going through court as your, the next judge. That's you. Yeah. Always know that before our time, our earthly time, before expiration day that we're here on earth, we have to we have to be mindful of the fact that, did I do everything that God called me to do? And if you did, then you're gonna continue, well. And if you don't, well, you'll pay that.
Can you talk to me about the type of art that you create? What's your style? Do you have a style? What inspires you? What comes to people's minds when they hear Tania Viveros?
When people hear Tania Viveros, they hear, well, they hear my name, but a lot of color pops, right? Because of my style. I'm a big fashionista artist, right? I love to be advocating for fashion, but my artwork is different. And I can say different because
you did mention mixed media, that you were a mixed media artist.
Mixed media.
What does that mean?
That means that I create artwork specifically in my realm with anything and everything that's around me. So I remember my amazing Dr. Lorenzo Pace, who I will always love, amazing artist. And he would say constantly, he would drill our heads, you are not an artist if you are not creating artwork using nature, Mother Nature. If you're not creating with what the Creator gave you, then you're not the full artist. So I started thinking about that. I'm like, okay, I need to start thinking, what am I going to be painting? What am I going to be making? I can't just be, painting another, Van Gogh, another Frida Kahlo. I have to be me. Mm-hmm. So I started thinking of growing up, we would play with everything we found.
Like mud pies and things like that?
Everything. All of our VHS cassettes, we would build little houses and, you name it. We used what we had. So that's what I started thinking. I'm going to start making artwork using the stuff that I grew up with. Yeah. Which is my mesquite seed, which is my beans, my tamal leaves, my palm tree leaves. You name it. Anything that's out there that people are right now paying for people to get rid of, I collect and I make artwork. And I'm constantly advocating or highlighting the passionate flower. That passionate flower is my thesis. That is something that I wanted to explore and research just because of its history. Yeah. That the representation that the passionate flower has, which is Christ, the beginning, and the fact that flower has a vine, that vine has a fruit. So it is just very deep, a lot of spiritual meanings on all of my artwork. So when you see, and the first time I showed my work to my brothers, they looked at a piece of, esto es todo ramerío. What does this mean? Like, first of all, this means, and I started saying, okay, this is the Trinity. This is God the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Oh, okay. I thought it was just garbage that mom gave you. I was like, no. Well, she did, but I made it pretty. So all of my work represent that.
Yeah.
Now, as I started exploring that, making big passionate flowers using my palm tree leaves, I started engraving. So engraving has been this new thing that I explored. And I thank Dior, our dealers here in McAllen, and Macy's for allowing me to be engraving for their customers, because it is a big responsibility.
Yeah. What type of engraving do you do?
I do specifically personalized engraving on fragrances.
Oh.
So
wow.
that has been something that I like and I enjoy. You're talking about 60 people in front of you telling you, can you please, engrave a poem? I'm like, what fragrance did you buy?
Like on the glass bottle?
Yeah, on the glass bottle.
Wow.
So you'll have me this month of May.
That's luxury right there.
Yes. I will
details. Luxuries in the details.
Yes, luxury in the detail, that's correct. I'll be there in the month of May for Mother's Day for Dior, and then I'll be at Macy's with Tommy Bunch, also at Macy's.
The Plaza Mall?
The Plaza Mall.
Nice.
And then I'll be at Alma's Fragrances here in downtown, very close to the Phoenix Gallery also. So it's back to back. Basically, I'll engrave before the art show. I have an engraving and then the art show.
Wow.
So because of all this engraving that I've been doing for Dillard's and Macy's, I've discovered, right, or I guess brought to the table of art engraving on my 12-inch by 12-inch glass tiles. So that's what I'm bringing now to the Phoenix Gallery.
Wow.
So I'm excited.
How did you start working with those stores? Did they see your artwork and then they reached out to you, or did you reach out to them? Did you do your little business deals, or?
You know what? I didn't do any of that. I have a tendency of talking to people as if I knew them and we were neighbors. And I met Gloria there at Bulgari, and we were just talking. She was telling me about her fragrance. Bulgari, because I love Bulgari. And she was telling me about the fragrance and you name it. And she said, oh, okay, yeah. Or we have somebody that can engrave it for you. Engrave the fragrance. I was like, oh, no, I can do that. That's okay. If I purchase the fragrance, I'll engrave it. That's not a problem. But before that, we already had established a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's when she mentioned, she questioned, where did you learn how to engrave? I'm like, well, I have an MFA, which is my PhD. And I'm like, sorry, but we make everything. You want to work with mud, you name it, it's there.
Yeah.
So I am a metalsmith jeweler.
Wow.
I do things from scratch. So it is a blessing. Once again, my UTRGV visual arts. I mean, if it wasn't for that growth, this would not be, as developed as it is. So because of that skill, I'm able to engrave because we do it all.
Did you also do those earrings that you're wearing?
Not these, but I have a couple of pieces that are going to be showcased in the fashion show, my copper, and then I have a couple of new pieces that I'm working on. So I have all of my metalsmith copper jewelry. That's something that I love. Creativity is something that I do. I mean, that's a life.
Yeah.
So I not only paint, use mixed media, I also love to do metalsmith work, engraving, building stuff, It's just fashion, you name it. It's like,
I love it that you use recycled palms and all the earthly things, because that's really great energy.
It does. And everything, I love having my house filled with my artwork. It just makes it me.
You should have an art like David Potwin. He has those art parties. They're so much fun. And
yeah. He has his house full of his paintings, and he has charcuterie boards. Charcuterie board. I don't know how they're called, but he's got snacks, food, wine.
Oh, caricatures.
And
okay.
he invites all his friends, and sometimes they buy pieces and stuff. I think it's a very unique way of showcasing your art and inviting people into your house, your home, and your friends. I've gone to several. I bought a piece.
Yeah.
And they're fun. The parties are so fun, and it becomes an art
party.
An art party. So that's why I was like, wow, if you have some pieces,
Yeah, my house is drenched, and I can tell you drenched.
I would love to see that.
It's really everything, and everything has meaning and purpose, right?
But I have at my house. I'm gonna have an art party at my house, but I'm not selling any of it because I have a huge collection of art in my home, and in fact, I have a huge piece that Uriel painted for me, but well, he painted it and I liked it, and he came and hung it, and it's gigantic.
I bet.
And so, a lot of pieces in there also have meaning, and I bought them at certain times when I was going through certain things. For me, art is like therapy.
Oh yeah.
When I buy it, usually it's like a passage of time. And when I look at it, I say, wow, I remember that, I was going through this or going through that, and I just leave it in the art. Whatever it is, like when you're painting and stuff, you leave it in there. Well, I'm the same thing, but I'm not so talented with art. So I'll just buy a piece, and, and so I have quite a bit of pieces. And so I'm going to probably have one of those. And you should have one too, Tania.
I'm going to consider
I would
that.
definitely go.
It's everything has meaning and stories, and you're right,
But you don't have to invite everybody, just the people that you consider, collectors or friends, the art world, like Gabby and Jennifer and
of
David,
course, imagínate.
It's really inviting all the artists to come and, see your partake on art.
And that's one of the things that not only is my entire house filled with most of the things that I'm making, little by little, it's beginning, like my kids' space, it's like beginning to get packed with their creative things. So Lena's room is all of her artwork. So everybody's beginning to, take over all these spaces, and we're constantly making stuff. I don't think there's a day that we don't make anything.
Oh, wow.
It's a lifestyle. It really is.
It could be like a reality TV show.
It could.
We should go in there and we should go film some of this.
Yes, and now what I love is that, I nudity is something that I've always loved. It's, oh my God, and I know I will never do any nudity just because my husband will divorce me and I'll get fired from all of my organizations, but nudity is something I love. But as for this art show, I depicted a couple of pieces that, again, reference the Garden of Eden, that nudity part where, you felt clean and holy. And now Lena's beginning to paint or draw nudity. And I'm like, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because I never shy away from it. I have to, Miss, can I draw nudity? Yes, but as long as you take it home. Obviously, we're not going to be doing, posters all over the campus because that's not going to...
Because I had a picture of two large pictures in my house from Reynosa, and it was just the bus. And my dad's like, take him down. I'm like, no, I'm not taking him down. Well, one of my daughter's friends came over to spend the night, and then she never came back. And I'm like, why didn't she come back? She goes, well, because you have nude paintings on the... I'm like, oh, okay. But then later on,
But it's a lifestyle. We have all these, beautiful Renaissance books at home. And Michelangelo is one of my forever loves when it comes to 3D artwork. Michelangelo. So, of course, this is a nudity, but it's a space that you want to feel comfortable with in the way it's represented. So, again, art is my life, and I don't say it as an, I paint, or it's a hobby, or as when they say this word to me, it's like, it's like piercing me in my heart with like a very sharp needle, and they say, you're crafting. I'm like, you said what?
That's the same way I feel when people come in here and say that there's costumes. This is not a costume store. Okay, I feel the same way with the clothing. Yeah.
No, it's like, this is not crafting. Get out.
You can go now.
Do you feel that the artist world down here in the Valley has grown or has changed throughout the years, and where do you think it's headed?
I think it's growing a lot, and the reason why it's growing, it's because of the support of our government here. I do thank our mayor from Edinburg, our mayor from McAllen, from FAR, and I do appreciate the fact that they're a team. And that just started happening not too long ago, right? And their relationships have open doors for us. Right now, there's going to be massive projects in the city of Edinburg. They're going to start doing art calls for mural artists.
Wow.
Why? Because we have this project where we're bringing the community together.
Yeah.
And it's going to be paid by the city also, right? With this massive grant. It's not possible if it's not for them. We have Keep McAllen Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
All advocating for art. So it's because of them. You might have all the ingredients in your kitchen, but if you don't have somebody that's going to cook them, they're really good for nothing, right?
Yeah.
Just echado a perder. That's basically it. So I think the reason why it's being, it's growing, it's because of their backbone support. And they're seeing the importance. Thanks to, obviously, nobody liked it. Nobody, and, we mourned so many deaths during COVID time. But during COVID, we saw, or the world saw, the importance of art.
Yeah.
The importance that without this, it's so boring.
Yeah.
People are paying so much money just to see people perform.
Yeah, that's true.
2 hours and there you're paying, or 3 hours, you're paying $800. And I tell my students, and you think there's no money in art? Who do you think you're paying these things to?
Yeah.
The creative space. You're paying all these trillions, and it's appreciated because they're constantly, backing. And I know they're not going to be, giving us trillions as artists. I understand that, even though they have them. But I understand that. But understanding that their support is a big deal. And when artists go out there and support local government, they're going out there and, doing community service, connecting, networking. The only reason I'm here with you is because of network. It's because
it's true, though, because
of
even
NHPO.
in the city of San Benito, they have the liberal arts school. And hopefully I'm thinking that's going to happen with, an art school. That would be amazing to have an art school. And there's a lot of kids come near to the shop and they tell me, well, I want, how do I start? Or I go, just go back there and spray paint something, but don't spray paint over Uriel because they have done it. But the kids, they have no outlets, they have no resources. I think that as the older generation, we have to supply that for them.
That's true. Opportunity.
Yeah.
There's no way on earth the students that I have now and for the past 6 years, because I've been an educator at North for 6 years, could have done what they're doing.
6 years is a lot.
It's it felt like nothing. I was like, wait, I was just here yesterday. How did this happen? But
because teachers come and go a lot.
Oh yeah.
Especially down here.
That's true. And I'm very blessed to have found that love, because I didn't think I was gonna, first month, I was like, okay, why am I here all day, which is really creepy.
Yeah.
From 8 to 4:20, and everybody wants to talk to me, when in the art world, we're solos.
Yeah.
Quiet time, you have your own thing. I mean, we all have our ins and outs, right? We talk to people, but then we're able to close the doors and nobody comes in.
Yeah.
When you're an educator, there is no time.
Yeah.
You always have people around you.
Right.
99.9 of 999. And they'll find me. They'll knock at the door like, Miss, we know you're in there.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
so creepy. Or they'll put letters underneath my door. Can I please have this thing? I left my charger in the classroom. I know you're in there. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Grab the thing. I was like, get in and get your stuff. But there's no alone time.
Yeah.
But now they couldn't create if it wasn't for. And like I tell them, you want to make something, you want a camera, you want a professional camera. Yes. Well, then you show me you really want it and go out there and photograph with whatever, crappy phone you may have. Whatever. But you show your passion. Anything. And if you want it, I promise you we will get whatever or whoever can sponsor you for that $500 camera.
Yeah.
But we'll make it happen, but you have to be hungry. And they'll go out there and they'll do whatever they need to do to show to me that, Miss, I do want this.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's no limits. But I agree with Yvette. We need to make it accessible.
Yeah.
Artists need to go out there. And yes, we're very selfish. Oh my goodness, we're super selfish, right? we all want the me time in the art world.
Yeah.
Create. Yeah, but I also believe that we need to go out there and sponsor or give time to our community, to our kids from the barrios, that they're talented.
Yeah.
And they don't know the growth in the art if we don't if we don't support them. Because not everybody is a great teacher, unfortunately.
That's true. What do you think art does for the community? What's the purpose of art, in your opinion?
The purpose of art is to help the mind grow, to kind of tweak, right? Like when you're tuning a guitar, you have to be tweaking the strings. You have to be moving the strings.
Yeah.
That's what art does. It's
Yeah.
moving your strings to see once you give that one note, 2 notes, you're able to hear the sound.
Yeah.
That's what art does in your life. It doesn't mean you're going to be the next, Pablo Picasso, because you won't. That's it. There's
Yeah.
only one.
Yeah.
But it means that you're going to be the best next you. That's it. That's what it means. Without the art, you can't really survive. You can't move. A lot of my students are hanging in there because of the art, because they get to see me the next day and say, I get to paint. I get to do this. I have students knocking, can I please create?
Yeah.
Can I please make? Can I please help so-and-so? Where do you hear that?
Yeah.
You don't. But again, because I follow my calling. My thing is follow your calling and people will follow you.
When you were telling me about growing up, you said that you didn't really have time for art. It was like a luxury, right? How would you say that art is a part of your life now?
Art is everything I do. Everything. I can't think of a day that I don't think of art. I mean, if I go to the mall, I'm not thinking, ooh, let me shop. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, Armani could have done such a better job if they would have done this, right? If they would have moved here. Okay, I like the setup that, Antonio Milani has, but they could have, or, always tweaking the mind, always thinking creativity. There's no way on earth that I am not thinking of it. And that falls into the next generation, which are my kids.
Yeah.
Now they're constantly thinking.
Yeah. When you first started teaching at North, did you start first at North or at STC?
Oh, no, I started first at North.
What was that first day like?
It was awful. It was scary. It was just like, okay, I signed a contract that says I'm going to be here for a very long time, right? A year. And I'm terrified not because I look like I'm 12. That's not my problem. I grew up in the ghetto. I'm not intimidated by anybody. That's not, even if the students are like 6'1.5", I'm like, look, I will still, yell at you. I don't care how tall you are. But the thing is that what caused that fear or that I don't think I can handle this is the time being in one room.
Yeah.
That is your second home, right? The fact that room was so empty, it looked like a jail cell. They gave it to me as if it was a crime scene.
Wow.
I remember.
That's what they say. The kids said school is like jail.
Yes, that's what it feels like, except my room. But I remember him, one of my principals giving me my key. My husband was with me. I was so excited. How because I was a paraprofessional at JFK Elementary. Super proud of those small beginnings, right?
Yeah. What is a paraprofessional?
Paraprofessional is an assistant for a teacher.
Oh,
so
okay,
I remember Ms. Gaitan, and I thank Ms. Gaitan for giving me the opportunity. She really, really Army drilled me. She told me to help everybody, and it was a lot. It was a lot, but she basically threw me like when
in
you're
the water.
in the water.
With the sharks.
Yeah, with sharks and ice and a couple of piranhas. I was like, I got this. And I remember, a lot of these teachers, there's a new teacher coming. Their room was sparkling beautiful. It was like, wow, that new teacher feeling, right? And I remember getting hired at North, which was very an honor. And my director giving me, or my principal giving me the key. My husband was with me, and I was like, okay, this is it. Okay, let me know if you need anything. Okay. Open the door, right? I'm like, what is this? Where am I? I was like, wait, can I unsign that contract? Because this is not what I signed up for. That room was the worst room I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Chairs torn everywhere, dead plants, boxes, and I'm like, there is somebody dead in here, I promise. And I told my husband, okay, I'll see you at 4:20. I'm gonna clean up this mess.
Nice.
By yourself? Yes. I don't remember seeing a custodian. I don't remember seeing anybody. It was just me in that space. So I wiped out everything. I was like, okay, start fresh. No art supplies, no school supplies, nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. It was just myself, the desk, Promethean board, and I'm like, okay, if you need a couple of pencils, the secretary can give them to you. A couple of pencils? What are we gonna do? Like tic-tac-toe? Like this is not it. But it was challenging.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is insane. I don't have paint. I don't have anything. Like, what am I gonna teach? The first day of school is like tomorrow.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? So with the frustration of there's not enough money, right? For you. For the world there is, but not for you. And the fact that I have loads of students, 30 students per class.
Wow.
What am I teaching?
Yeah.
That was concerning to me.
So how did you come up with a plan, with a strategy?
Thanks to new teacher institution that really, really annoyed me for a whole year, but still helped me. They were a blessing because they guided me just to kind of swim, right? But not on the content. The content I had to figure out. How to think, okay, you're thinking, okay, this lesson's going to be awesome. They're going to be super engaged for a week. I got this. Period was over. We're done. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean you're done? This was supposed to be for a week. Yeah. So tweaking. I'm like, this doesn't work. This works. And constantly thinking my room needs to, because I am somebody that decors a lot.
Yeah.
Love decor. And with your fix me up or decor, don't think Martha Stewart, let me go. No. You make with what you have.
I mean, you got the lease from your mom.
Yes. So I'm like, I got this. So that room right now is my pride and joy.
Nice.
Because they said, you will never have a faucet. It has never happened.
Really?
I have a faucet.
Oh, now you have one.
Yeah. No, I've had one for a while. In my second year, I said, I'm going to get a faucet.
Wow.
I mean, I won't forget that time I told the plumbers, look, sir, you can't tell me you can't put a faucet, because if you can, I'll call somebody from the flea market. They'll put me a faucet, a washer and dryer for $50. So le mueve. He's like, ma'am, you got a faucet. You have to really make things work.
Yeah.
Because that is your second home.
Yeah.
That's it. And that is a room that is filled with everything. My classroom is equipped with 6 sewing machines, 25 engraving Dremels. What else? A whole jeweler's bench, tons and tons of paint with all of the paintbrushes, pastels galore, you name it, paper, cardboard, everything that the students need to make, they have it.
Wow.
Lo que les falta es ganas. But that's my job to wake them up.
Yeah. So are you like the cool teacher? Like everyone hangs out at your
Everybody
class?
wants to be there. And I'm not that cool teacher that says, oh, let's be friends. No, they know that. I'm like, okay, I'm not your friend. I'm your mentor. So muévele. Don't waste my time. Quítate because somebody else wants to make stuff.
Yeah.
So because that se ingren, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not that cool teacher that, oh, Ms. Viveros, she's so... No. I'm more of a young grandma. Like, do whatever you want. A young grandma.
Let's say that loud.
because it's like soy muy regañona en dichos, right? They'll tell me, Miss, what if I break this? Well, I'm going to be very mad. Well, I can hurt myself. No. Never mind you. My materials. Like, that's what I care for.
Yeah.
So, no. I guess I'm cool in that way. I don't know.
No, yeah. Has there any student come up to you and like told you like, ma'am, you've transformed my life, or like you've inspired me, or anything like that? Or like, have you seen like a student gone from like being like very like not into your class to like transform into like enjoying art?
Oh, I see it every year. And I'm blessed for that. I really am. I see the transformation from, I hate art. I'm like, okay, well, let me seduce you in the arts. So as a matter of fact, I could care less. You're just going to work for me. They're like, what? Yeah, I'm not here to convince you to love art. I'm here to convince you they have skills. That's basically it.
Oh, wow.
I'm already in love with art. You don't need to unconvince me of that. Yeah. But I need to convince you that you have potential to make stuff. And making stuff is actually going to get you out of that rat hole that you might be in.
Yeah.
So that's where they're like, okay, I didn't see it that way. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And know that this is the most comfortable space that you'll be in.
Wow.
You can say anything and everything, and it's a comfortable space.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's like so many people that want to be there because it's a comfortable space, a creative space. I'm not going to tell you how to make the work. That's your job.
Of course.
And it's not pleasing me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're not there to make work to please me.
Yeah.
You're there to make work to please yourself.
Yeah.
And the way I grade is very different. It's not, this is the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of them don't have that level. I'm like, I'm going to see your growth.
Mm-hmm.
From stick figures to stick figures with more muscle. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If there's growth, then you're good.
Is there a goal that you have for yourself as an artist? Do you put goals for yourself, I guess, as a teacher, as an artist, where you hang up art in the galleries? Do you have goals for both, or are they both like integrated, or how does that work for you?
My goals are, and it's hard because we were talking about how we're like everywhere as artists, right? It's, oh my God, that's a little challenging. And now with the love for engraving, the coming back to metalsmithing, going into my fashion, and all these things, I'm like, okay, wait, where is this? And that's where my husband always helps me. He's and I always have to highlight him because he's the reason why I'm thinking business. I told you I reject business because it's like, what do I know?
Yeah.
And now he's like, no, Tania, you need to, like Yvette says, get your shit together, right? That's like Yvette's quote. I love it. Yeah, because you're just not going to make stuff. You have to sell it, right?
Of course.
And he has helped me so much with that. So he does help me with my goals, as in, okay, well, what about all this? Yes, all this is there, but what is this leading you to? So I am going to continue with all of my art shows. I am looking forward to a solo art show very soon in the Valley.
Nice.
I'm looking to where, because I need a pretty large space.
Here, we can do it in the back.
That would be fantastic. I need it's going to be a whole installation.
Nice.
Oh,
It's a big installation with artworks and, like what we have in, that Isaac and Uriel put up that beautiful space that's there in the Phoenix Gallery. So from there, I want to be able to take that to San Antonio.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I love San Antonio. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I love Austin. Well, I'm a San Antonio gal. Sorry, but that's me. I'm like, San Antonio's my like, I can say that I'm connected to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Austin, I'm like, okay, chanclas and yeah. Not only that, I'm like, huaraches and shorts are not my thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean.
Tell us, Tania, about when that one of your colleagues came into the shop, and I showed him your picture, and of the modeling, and he was like, he was so enamored about the store. What was that comment that you told him?
Oh yes, we were. It's a good friend of mine. He's an educator at North as well. English, poor people, they're so sad. It's like, oh, you guys are just so there. No, but he tells me how him and his wife invest so much money in concerts. I'm like, what?
Concerts?
Concerts. I was like, boy, you need to invest in art. Like, that's just, I mean, that's amazing, but that's enough, right? So we had that we were just talking, leisure time. And then he's like, hey, I forgot to tell you, before I tell you, I met Yvette. I'm like, oh, so you just started living? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, yeah. I met, oh my goodness, she talked. I go, yeah. What do you mean you live in West Laco and you've never been to Black and Modern Vintage? Are you insane? He's like, well, you just started living. You really, because it's true. When I met Yvette, it was through Uriel.
Yeah.
Uriel, I started, as soon as I graduated from my MFA, I said, okay, enough with books. I love books. I love my academic life. I love that. But if you're not careful, that's a box.
Yeah.
And I see it. I respect it and I love it, and I was there. But the minute I graduated, I was like, I need to get out. I need to get out of my box, right?
Comfort zone.
It's too comfortable. That's it. So I remember looking for galleries. I'm like, I need to exhibit work. And that's when first one I saw, Phoenix Gallery. I was like, where's that at, right? So I contacted Uriel and he said, well, let's meet. Okay. Again, academic, mindset, a gallery, something, white space, glass, right? All these windows.
Museum.
That museum, right? And like a small museum. So when I arrived, I remember I always take my husband everywhere. I'm like, my family's always with me.
He's right here.
He's right there. Yeah, he's always they're always with me because they're really my backbone. And that day I was like, no, I got this. It's a gallery. It's gonna be boring. Remember driving to downtown. I'm like, oh shit. Like, where am I? Like, I hadn't been in downtown since I was 17 when I used to sell wedding dresses.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is not cool. Like, this is scary. And then he told me, I'll be right there. And then he shows me where it's at. I was like, wait, where am I? I'm going to die. Like, so I'm going to, you know what? Artist started working and now she's just going to die, right? And I remember going into the Phoenix Gallery. The minute I start climbing those stairs, I'm like, wow. Like, you start feeling a different energy.
Yeah.
Like, I started feeling not only nervous because I thought, okay, Uriel could have kidnapped me. I don't know. What is this, right? Obviously, he's an amazing person, super sweet. But I started going, I was like, where am I? All of my fears and all of my panics of I'm with a total stranger that, can sell me to the mafia, gone. Because I saw all the artwork in the space and I'm like, wow, I forgot about the world. And that's the experience you get when you go into the Phoenix. You forget about the world. So from there on, he's like, okay, we have artists. And so he I guess, ranchera Maui. I talk. I love to talk. So he's like, you need to meet Yvette. So that's how I met Yvette.
And I walked into the Phoenix for the first time for our first show, and I saw the cape. And I said, oh my God, I have to have this cape. And I did get the cape from the first show. It was let me get it. I'm going to bring it into the podcast. It was an amazing.
So let me ask you, if people are interested in purchasing your art, where would they go to see it? Just the Phoenix Gallery or somewhere else?
Right now, I have Phoenix Gallery for sure, right? That is right now what we're advocating for. But definitely, I have my website in the Facebook and Instagram, Tania Viveros, and you have my website there when you can look at all of my collections.
I have. But okay.
If you do, then it's part of the show.
Yeah, so this is a cape that Tania made for the Blossom show.
Oh, wow.
And if you want to tell us about it, Tania.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of my favorite pieces, and I love it so much.
This cape I will never forget because, believe it or not, as I was teaching through a camera, which most than likely I was talking to all the little dogs and guinea pigs in the camera because the students were not there. I was painting. So I'm like, okay, students, today. And I started painting and painting. I was like, I want to make capes. I want to highlight on... at the time, that power, that inner power that God gives us, not because you're a woman or a man, but because it's something that he gives us.
The passion.
That passion, that power that he gives us. So I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing that. So I started painting and painting and painting and painting. So I have this one that now belongs to Yvette. And at home, I have 3 more. And I'm in the making of more.
To add to my collection?
Yes, and I'm going to make smaller ones. But again, advocating for... not specifically. And that's one of the points that I know I get a lot in the classroom. It's like, oh, miss, are you a feminist? Are you I'm like, you know what? I'm a humanist. It's like, what do you mean? I will never just advocate for women or men. I'm going to advocate for that passion for a human being that you need to find. Hey, Diva, how's your life?
Diva likes the cape.
She's like, wait, what's going on?
Let's paint Diva.
Right?
We need a
you know what? A cape for Diva.
We need a cape for Diva.
Yes.
That would be so good.
So, yeah, I mean, that's something that I wanted to highlight for. And in that show...
But tell us about what this cape represents.
The representation, yes. It represents the passionate flower.
Nice.
So you have all the vines and all the flowers. And the passionate flower I discovered before I got a job.
Yeah.
I was praying and I told my husband, oh my goodness, I'm done with my BFA, which is your bachelor's, right, in art. What do I do? What do I do? People are right. I'm going to starve. I was panicking, but I remember going outside and praying, taking that alone time with God. That was my every day. And it was in an apartment in Edinburg, super nice, but patio, you cannot sneeze because you would just hit the fence. Mm-hmm. So it was super small, but there was a real small space of soil. Mm-hmm. And I am a green thumb, right, because of my grandma. And I started watering that little space because I was going to plant something there. Mm-hmm. Little by little, I saw a little plant just grow. I was concerned at the beginning. I was like, wait, how many leaves does it have? What is this? Yeah, what is? But I kept on watering it. And then little by little, I saw a vine that started to, come out. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Continue. So I continue. But every day I was always looking forward to my prayer time at night because I would water, pray, and look at, what God was doing with the soil. I was like, what's going on? It's like, I don't know, whatever. If it's illegal, I'll get the helicopter eventually. But sooner than later, I started seeing a lot of butterflies around this massive vine.
Wow.
And I was wondering, what are you? Like, what are you truly? And that day, and it's like so vivid in my head, I remember seeing the little buttons, right? The little flowers. I was like, what are you? A fruit? And as it opened, it was within time. It was within like less than 25, 30 minutes. It opened up and it was a passionate flower.
Wow.
We don't grow these in the valley because it is so hot.
Yeah.
And it is so fragile. We have some, and I know San Antonio has a lot of passionate flowers. Here in the valley, they're beginning to be popular. But we're talking 2016.
Oh, wow.
A little bit, a sneeze away from yesterday, right? And I saw this flower, and at that time, I was getting into the MFA, and I thought I need to start thinking of point. And I started researching the flower, which is connecting to Christ and his life. So it's very numerical, you know, the crown and the history found in 18th century by a priest. So it was just my thesis, my entire thesis. And that has been my whole entire collection of this vine, this passionate vine that brings life to me. But not only that, if you look at the medical, you know, I guess, venue of this passionate flower that has a fruit, they make wine. It helps you so much to, you know, prevent cancer. It has so many medical benefits to it. So it really connected with me. So that's why all these, you know, vines and passionate flowers are there.
So if people have like a cape or clothing that they would like to have you paint, is that possible for them to do?
Oh, of course, yes. They can always reach out to me in Instagram or Facebook, always. And not only that, the City of Edinburg has my contact information. If you go to the City of Edinburg Cultural Arts and you go into the art directory, you have there my public phone number to the whole Rio Grande Valley.
Wow.
So never mind about privacy, right? It's like I gave them my phone number.
Yeah.
So the entire Rio Grande Valley has my phone number, and they can reach me there and say, hey, I want you to paint this. As a matter of fact, on May 6th, I will be wearing a very exclusive dress painted by me, and it's going to be really neat, something exciting for me to wear.
So tell us about that event, May 6th,
May 6th, yes.
What's happening?
May 6th, we're highlighting artists that are specifically women. And this is an interesting group because none of us really drink coffee together. We know each other, you know, in the art world. But little by little, we've gotten connected. And the connection started with, obviously, I'm involved in the Phoenix Gallery a lot. Cheryl, one of our muralists here in the
she was here the other day.
She's the one that said, you know what, I want to have a female art show. I was like, oh, but go for it. I'm here to help you with whatever you need, or at least to contribute, right, as an artist. So then from there, Uriel started giving her a couple of contact information. So these are women and that are different in the realm of creativity.
About how many women are going to be
We're
showing their art?
We're talking about 5. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have the flyer with me, and I turned on my phone. So a chunk of women, I can say that. But
Gabby Rico?
Yeah, I know it's Gabby, Cheryl myself.
Anderson, Tania Viveros.
Then 2 more, like about 6. But we're all different mediums. We have Jennifer Poppy, we have Gabby. Everybody's so different, and that's unique. So highlighting different, unique women that can put up a pretty good art show. And with this,
women empowerment.
It really is. With this, we're adding Yvette, the huge highlight of the fashion show. Why? Because I've noticed. I've been in so many art shows.
You were one of her models too, right?
That is correct. That was one of her models, a little boutique.
Right away.
Little tiny.
And that was one of the best shows, I think.
Yeah, that is. I've been, and that's what I tell my husband. I've been to many art shows. I tell you, I come from the academic art world. I've seen so many art shows. I don't think I've ever seen, or I will ever see here in the Valley, an art show as good as the one in the Phoenix Gallery, because it is amazing.
I think it's a group effort. I think it takes a village, and I think that we're all kind of like a family, and you know, and we support each other through the arts, and everyone brings a little bit to the table, and I think that that's what makes it so empowering and inspirational to the community. And this will be our 4th show. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I think that this is probably going to be the biggest one yet. Yeah. And we're going to go ahead and put the information. Carlos is going to load it up with all the details and everything at this podcast. But we really want to invite everybody to really come and make a difference and show your support for local women artists of the RGV. Yeah. And that's going to be at Phoenix Art Gallery, May 6th.
Yeah, May 6th. And we expect a lot of great people. And you're talking about different branches, from politics to business owners to, students. Yeah, it's everybody. You never know. This show might be so big that whenever we do another show, it's not going to be in the Phoenix, because we're going to need a bigger place.
Get the convention center, or
Quinta Mazatlan. I don't know. What do I know?
Well, hopefully, if you're gonna go to this show, you better get there early. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We have a lot of entertaining going on, and music, and
And networking.
and
And not only that, I think that's one of the things that the Valley's growing to, networking.
Yeah.
And I see that network at FAR, network in San Benito, network in Huaslaco. We are networks, network industry here in the Rio Grande Valley. And you know what? That is working. It's working if you're really pushing for it. And that's how I'm here. That's why I'm meeting so many great people, because of the connections.
So my last question, you were talking about how you're trying to integrate business with art. If you had to pick an elevator pitch for Tania Viveros as an artist, what would that sound like?
Whoa, that's a good one. Wait. I need my representative, my manager.
oh my gosh, her.
How would you describe someone who's never heard of your art or you? How would you?
How would I describe myself?
Multi-talented, faceted, and extremely
Yeah,
talented.
that would be a tough one. I think that one's still under construction, just because there's so much. I can't say like my good art friends, oh, this is it. Like, this is a medium that I work with, or this is, the realm that the one word is passionate.
Yes.
That's
Passionate.
it.
I would say yes.
Passionate. I mean, you tell me jump. I mean, I'll just, okay,
Like
how
Tania
high?
said earlier, she said God gives us everyone a passion. It's up to the passion in us to find out what it is and dominate it, master it. And that's what it is, our God-given passion of Christ. And I think that it's any man who's has his own trade has an estate.
Yeah.
It's like all of the indigenous women, they make these beautiful textiles and hats and, embroidered clothing because, that's how they have to survive.
Yeah.
And they can do it. We can do it as well. And, part of that legacy is when you create something with your heart and your passion, it carries that energy forever.
Yeah.
So that piece, that indigenous piece or that piece of work of art, it's carrying your hard-earned passion that you put into it.
Yeah.
And that is priceless.
That's correct. And, in every piece I make it with passion and love.
Yes.
Nice.
That's it. So I can paint your pants. I can paint you a mural. I can, whatever you want me to do for you, my heart's going to be there. My passion's going to be there. So if anything describes Tania Viveros, the artist, right, is a passionate artist.
And she's very stylish. She always looks good. I mean, she is. When my customer drove up, he's like, "Oh, she looks like a model. She's a model." Yeah, she is everything.
I was like, oh my goodness, a model that's 5'2". I'm like, guys, I'm practically a midget. Okay,
No,
there's nothing wrong
your
with
style
that.
is impeccable. I always love looking at your stuff.
Thank
and
you.
and that is the way you stand out for the students as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're on point.
Yeah.
Girl, you are on point. I'm pretty sure that all the teachers at your school are like, damn, why did she do this? And we're wearing jeans and t-shirts.
Oh
And
yeah.
here comes Tania lighting up the room.
The whole fandango. I was like, where are your, what is it? Where's your fur? I'm like, well,
She
it's in the
dresses
car.
to the nines. She is just so extraordinary with her fashion, and I think that motivates people and wakes them up.
Yeah.
With her exquisite style, and I can't wait to see her dress.
Oh my gosh,
Now
yeah,
I know I'm gonna have to go look for something great to wear too.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and you know what? It's just something that was built in me, and it's highlighted because of people like you.
Yeah.
Because of my husband, because of my kids, because of Yvette. Now that I have that connection with you, Carlos, with Uriel, with Isaac, with Jennifer, with Gabby, Cele, name it, all these crazy people, David.
All these connections.
Tina, I love
we love
Tina. All these people that, Ileana also.
Sandra.
I can't, Sandra, you name it. It's like a whole list of people
It's
that
a family. We're a family.
we're constantly, exchanging energy.
At the end of the show, I want to play that song. We are family.
We really are.
Play it.
Yeah, and we exchange our passion. And I don't want to specifically advocate for energy, but I mean, we exchange our passion, our dreams, our thoughts, and we don't see each other as a competition because there's no competition. In reality, you are your own competition, and everybody's different. Pop culture is different. Everybody's different. We all have our calling, and as long as we're following our calling that God calls us to, we should be okay. You should not be worried.
Well, thank you so much for coming to the podcast.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the space, and thank you, Diva. I know you're over here hiding, but thanks for thanks so much.
Is there anything you have on top of your chest, on top of your mind that you want to just like a message to the people watching?
Just create for this world that needs that creativity, that needs to see. And if you are doubtful of, getting into the art world, try it. And I think you can always reach any of us that we've mentioned before, and we can help you. We can help you, at least give you those connections. And it's going to be up to you how much you want to grow. It's not an impossible world. It's only impossible if you're sitting there constantly investing your time in Netflix and investing your time in all these things that are not giving you an actual inner satisfaction. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.